Okay, the next topic is the automated tools in audit. Okay, automated tools in the audit. This is the next topic. So here we are going to talk about robotic process automation, blockchain, what is the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, etc. Okay, so first they are going to give a question that write about Internet of Things, what are the audit implications and what are the risk. Okay, so the question will be in such a way. Now, Internet of Things. So what is an Internet of Things? It is a concept. What concept? You are going to connect any devices. Okay, you are going to connect any devices to internet, which is very simple. We are connecting the coffee makers, washing machine. These are all the things we are connecting to the internet. Now, this is your first point you are going to write. What is your second point? Second point, what are the components, key components of your Internet of Things? So the key components are, you are going to collect the data, analyze that data. You should have the connectivity between the people and the process. Okay, collection, analytics, connectivity, people, process. This is your second point. What are the components of Internet of Things? And the last point is that Internet of Things, it is not going to change your business model but also your strategic objectives. Okay, it is also going to affect your strategic objectives of the organization, and you are going to evolve to the new laws and regulations, new exposure to the new laws and regulations also, right? There is an example. I like this smart oven. Okay, oven example. If you want to take other, you just study the other example. The oven example is that there is a smart oven, so by scanning the QR code we can it will determine the temperature and the time to cook. Okay, how much time is required to cook the food without burning it. Okay, so it's going to do that. So this is a smart oven for Internet of Things. And then we are going for audit implications. Okay, what is the audit implication? What the auditor should do, what he should do in extra, since he is going for this automated technology, etc., what he should do from his point. Okay, so first of all, there is a shift in the using the devices, system, etc. So he cannot rely on the manual controls alone. Okay, he cannot rely on the manual controls alone. So what he should do, he should scope into the new systems into their audit. He should bring new systems into his audit. He has to see whether he need to upskill anyone. Okay, upskill the auditors, or he have to train the auditors to evaluate what is the effectiveness of the automated controls, whether it is operating properly or not. So this is your first point, that we cannot rely on the manual controls directly. Second one is the consumer facing tools and consider the payment processing tools. Two things we have to consider: consumer facing tools, that which is going to affect the transactions. Okay, because you are having new tools, okay, consumer facing tools, which will introduce the new risk. So you have to consider that. And also you are making different types of payment, so be sure about the payment processing tools. Okay, these are the 3 points you can consider. And also the auditor would need to consider the volume of those transaction and the process and the controls related to it. So what is the volume, how it is getting processed, etc. These are the 4 points. And what is the common risk? Common risk, it is an Internet of Things. In Internet of Things, we are going to talk about that devices is getting connected to internet, correct? So devices hijack, device hijacking, theft of the device, these are the two things. And we are going to take data out of it, right? So data siphoning and data breaches, and last it is denial of services, if you remember. Okay, or else at least you remember this four. So device and data, device hijacking the device, theft of device, and then from the device you are going to take the data, data siphoning and data breaches. This is your first topic, Internet of Things. Next, we are moving on to artificial intelligence. When we talk about artificial intelligence, it refers to a system or machine that can think and learn. So it is a system or it is a machine. It is going to think and learn. It's going to use data analysis and algorithms. It is going to use algorithms, data analysis, for what? For making the decisions based on the predictive methods. It's going to predict something, on that basis it's going to give some decisions. Okay, so example, you can go for self-driving cars, robots, etc. Now we'll move on to the auditor's implications. So in artificial intelligence, they are using invisible algorithms. Okay, so the audit must focus on the logical flow of the process, how the process is working. So a review of AI should ascertain. we have to review the artificial intelligence in such a way we have to identify whether the algorithms or in such a way it is creating a bias or not. And the next thing, we have to assess the effectiveness of the algorithm. So first of all, whether the algorithm is biased or not. Okay, and then what is the effectiveness of algorithm and whether the output is appropriately reviewed or not. Okay, what is the output? So this is the first point I chose, and you can go for the second point. That is, the auditor should confirm their understanding of how the use of AI affects the flow of transactions. So you will see this point everywhere, how the emerging technologies are affecting the flow of transaction, how the AI is affecting the flow of transactions, etc., including the generation of reports, analytics used by the management, etc. And last point, you have to analyze whether AI is taking the decision, or in decision making we are just using AI. Okay, whether AI itself is making the decision or being utilized by the management as a part of decision making process. So these are the audit implications. Here I have given the short words. Okay, I have given just keywords to get into deeply. Okay. And after this, what are the common risk of AI? So the basic risk is the security is one of the key risk. Okay, and inappropriate configuration. If any configuration is made which is not correct, then it's going to affect everything. Okay, it is a potential risk, it is a greater risk. Okay, say A is also used in the diagnosis of the medical condition. If there is a configuration, bad configurations or malfunction, then it could harm everyone before it is being spotted. Okay, so security is the first problem, and then configuration is the second problem, and data privacy is the last problem. Okay, next is a blockchain. Blockchain is based on decentralized and distributed ledger that is secured through encryption. This is a keyword, decentralized and distributed ledger. So what we will do is each transaction in the block is going to be validated. Once it is validated, you are going to create a block. Okay, that is that is replicated and distributed to all the participants. It will be created as a block, and the blocks are sequenced in such a way that if you do any modification in that block, then it will disqualify the information. So this is how you will remember. It is a decentralized and distributed ledger plus your encryption, secured through encryption. Every transaction is validated by the blockchain participant. It will create a block, so you cannot modify the block, right? So this is some introduction about the blockchain. Next, what are the auditor's implication? The first one you have to consider is, the auditor has to consider is the governance and security around the transactions. Okay, there are other risk factors, so you have to be concerned about the governance and the security around the transactions, right? Then you don't forget about the data confidentiality and the privacy. Confidentiality and the privacy cannot be ignored. That is the second point. And the last point is that the auditor must be able to determine whether the data put on the blockchain will expose the enterprise for the non-compliance with regulations and laws. Okay, you just ensure whether there will be a problem of non-compliance. So what the auditor should do, he has to check the governance and security plus data confidentiality plus privacy. That is another point. And what is the last point is the compliance. Okay, non-compliance of laws and regulation, will be there any problem related to it. Okay, these are the three things the auditor have to see. And the last, risk. In risk, again, there is a problem that it is an irreversible. Okay, the transactions are irreversible, so it is also becoming its weakness. Okay, because see, they need specific protocols and the management process such that they are not logged out. Okay, and they have the contingencies planned. Since the transactions are irreversible, they should have some contingency plan. Okay, and they have to be sure about the cyber and the data attacks. Okay, data hacks will be happening, so they have to be sure about their security. Regulations, again we have seen here some regulation point. Again you can also write it in the risk point. Okay, what are the risks? So there is a risk about whether the organization complies with the regulations or not. And last one is the adapting to the process. Okay, check that the management, okay, complaints managers are following the developments and they are adapting the process accordingly. So whether they are getting updated and whether they are adapting the process accordingly. Yes, so this is about your blockchain. Now we are going for NFT, which is non-fungible tokens. First is NFT means something which is unique and cannot be replaced. Okay. Unlike the physical money, it is not like a physical money. These are fungible, that is, it can be traded or exchanged for one another. Okay. NFT or non-fungible tokens, right? It is unique. It is going to have a digital signature. There. So these points you can revise. Here, what are the key feature of NFT? You can remember dukes. What is dukes or duplex also you can remember. So I just remember as a dukes. What is dukes? Just a keyword. Okay. Dukes is D stands for digital asset, U stands for unique, X stands for exchange. So NFT you can exchange. It is unique. It cannot be forged or it cannot be manipulated, and it is a digital assets. Okay. So it represents the internet collectibles like art, music, etc., which is created by the blockchain. So these are the three key features of the digital asset dukes. What is dukes? Digital asset. It is unique, cannot be manipulated or forged. X, it can be exchanged. Okay, NFT exchanges take place with cryptocurrency such as bitcoins, etc. Now, NFT has its own challenges. What is the challenges? The challenge is a ownership, copyright concern. Okay, and again here also there is a security risk, and market is not that wide, and online frauds. So there is a problem in the ownership. There is a problem in the copyright concerns, security problem, market problem. Market is not that wide, and you have the online frauds problem, right? So the NFT audit consideration includes comprehensive code review for the safety of a token, valid contract, data privacy, and potential cyber threat. So you have to give attention to these things. Okay, token, contract validity, and then what is the data privacy and the potential cyber threat. Okay, so these are the things you have to be confident enough for writing the challenges of NFT, right? So for RPA, I will cover it in a separate session because it is a little lengthier. I will cover RPA in a separate video. Okay. If it's really useful, please share it with your friends who are going to leave the digital audit. Okay. And for it is open for your suggestions and improvements. Just leave the comments below for any improvement suggestions. I will do that also. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.